Hulk. The strongest there is. Except in the MCU.
Hulk out! Bruce. Damn!
The first time I was introduced to the Hulk was Ang Lee's Hulk. As a kid, watching that film was a test of patience. Boring dialogue. Awesome action sequence. Boring dialogue. Punching a dog in the balls. It certainly made an impact on my childhood. The marketing alone was insane. Hulk was everywhere at that time. One of the highlights of this beautiful mess was Nick Nolte's David Banner. I mean, just look at him. Ugh. Based off Brian Banner, Bruce's dad from the comics. Instead of Brian, he's David Banner, a nod to the Incredible Hulk from the 1978 series. Oddly enough, the reason why his name is David instead of Bruce in that show was because somebody thought the name Bruce sounded gay.
What the fuck?
Wow. Okay. Alright. David acts as one of the main antagonists of this film, being an amalgamation of a couple different characters from the comics. The first and main character that he's based off of is Absorbing Man, with his ability to absorb any material. I mean, it's self-explanatory. The second being Zax, with this scene. And lastly, in my opinion, the leader, with his work and tampering with gamma radiation. Now, this used to happen a lot back then. Characters would be merged with other characters from the comics, or for some reason given a random name change. Of course, back then, with every major Marvel film that was coming out at the time, a huge marketing campaign would follow, and what followed that was a huge toy line. Usually the company that handled these toy lines was Toybiz. Now, Toybiz was the king at handling these Marvel movie toy lines. They covered everything from X-Men, Fantastic Four, Blade, Spider-Man, and Hulk. It was standard stuff back then, you know, like gimmicky figures, superposable figures, 12-inch figures, and also throw in a walkie-talkie. I recently got my hands on a David Banner figure, so I was hoping to do an unboxing. As you can see, he's still in the box. Even after 20 years, someone probably had this put on a wall or displayed proudly on a shelf. Let's rip this open. Man, get this out of here. Man, this thing looks nice. Oh, they don't make them like this anymore. Seeing this logo again really brings back memories. It was everywhere. Seriously, this packaging is so creative. Like, look, what is this? Is this a gamma tank? Where? The famous blue background product shot. Seriously, look how detailed this is. I'm surprised it didn't just say Absorbing Man, instead choosing to dead name him. Well, time to open it up. And of course, it's twist tied to death. There's like 9 twist ties here. 9? I'm really glad Hasbro doesn't do this. Especially for an old figure like this, I gotta watch out for paint chipping. This thing's almost like 20 years old. I do gotta say, out of the box, he looks great. Kinda reminds me of Metamorpho from that new Superman movie. Kinda feels sticky right out of the box. That head sculpt alone, it really looks like Nick Nolte, but through rock. Honestly, I'm really glad to have a Nick Nolte figure in my collection.
I said I'll drive, you started!
Of course, the glaring issue here is the lack of articulation. Right out the box, he's a little loose, but a lot of Toybiz figures over time get loose. But mine was in the box, so I don't know. I just love all these fine details, especially with the different material that he's absorbed. Honestly, the details alone sold me on this figure. He just has weird combination of wood, rock, metal, obsidian, and this red stuff on his body. Is that supposed to be lava? I wonder what this yellow mark is. And his hand is almost reminiscent of that scene when he's first getting his powers. Now he's kind of stuck in this pose, almost like a statue. It's pretty clear this figure was based off of this concept art. It does capture the concept art pretty well though. Now he does come with alternate limbs, but for some reason they're very hard to bend, and to be honest with you, I don't want to try so hard. This figure is 20 years old, so I'm surprised it hasn't disintegrated already. I'm surprised I got the arm to do this. Here he is next to Bruce Banner, his son. Now we can replicate famous father and son moments from the film.
Stop! Stop! What? Stop! What? Think of all those men out there in their uniforms, barking and swallowing orders, inflicting their petty rule over the entire globe. Think of all the harm they've done to you, to me, to humanity. No!
Here he is next to the Hulk. Now obviously this figure is more closer to human size than Hulk size. This figure was made to be a little over 6 inches. Now the Toybiz Hulk figures were 6 inches in scale. They weren't really that big. I think they were more or less meant to be compared to 4-inch figures. Bruce Banner figure in that line was about 4 inches. Here he is next to the Red Hulk. Again, pretty small. Here he is next to Abomination. And here he is next to She-Hulk. His legs go out that far. There's a bend at the knees, but I can only bend one leg. Again, that old articulation, I really don't want to force it. He has no bend at the arms, but he can swivel his hands. His head swivels at the neck. Again, not a heavily articulated figure, but overall I enjoy it.
I should have killed you.
I should have killed you.
I wish you had.
Watching the new Cat movie, I couldn't help but think to myself, what if we got, instead of the leader, Samuel Stearns, we got David Banner instead? Now, I know it wouldn't have made any sense whatsoever, considering Captain America 4's connection to Incredible Hulk 2008. I kind of just like the idea that somehow David survives the whatever the that was at the end of Hulk 2003. And he just wants revenge on Ross. His hate just been growing and growing and growing. So he finds a way to slip him gamma pills, turning Ross into the Red Hulk. I would imagine David couldn't revert back to his human form after the battle, so he's just this walking mess of absorbed objects and things. Now don't get me wrong, I like the leader's reason for hating Ross, but I sort of like my little change better, and it justifies him being in my collection that way. It's sort of like how I justify using the DC Multiverse Carapax as Crimson Dynamo in my collection. That's what I like to do with my collection. I like to have little stories to justify certain versions of characters or other figures acting as a different role. Off topic here, they made a Hulk dog figure. Only one, unfortunately, but I was kind of hoping they would make one for the poodle.
And this giant poodle named Eric, who always had a red rocket going on.
All in all, it was fun taking a look at a relic from the past. It kind of makes you appreciate what we have now. Sure, say what you will about the new Marvel Legends MCU toy lines, but the effort still can be felt. Toybiz also did a really good job for its time, leaving its mark on a lot of collectors today. If not for their articulation, their sculpting and details for sure made up for it. This figure is not a 10 out of 10 for sure, but it's a reminder of how far we have come. Now, not everything was perfect, but what toy line is? I don't know about you, but not every figure in my collection has to have the best articulation for me to appreciate its value. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I love you.